I fly tens of thousands of miles a year, and somehow I still managed to make some seriously rookie mistakes when I flew on United recently. There are a few rules and surprises that can totally change your experience, especially if you just book the cheapest ticket that you see on Google Flights. So today, we're talking about what I wish I'd known before flying United so that you don't learn the hard way like I did. Let's start with the big one, the basic economy reality check. United's basic economy sounds like a great deal at face value until you realize just how basic is. One of the biggest things you need to be aware of when booking basic economy is it often has an effect on your ability to cancel or change your flight in the event that your plans change. You might think this isn't going to happen, but it can and it will. However, United has an additional restriction in basic economy that other airlines do not tend to have, and it seriously caught me off guard. And I would have saved a lot of money had I caught this when booking my basic economy ticket. On United with basic economy, you don't get a carry-on bag, not even if you want to pay for one. Instead, you get a personal item, just like if you're flying on a budget airline like Spirit or Frontier. The catch is, if your personal item doesn't fit under the seat in front of you, you will pay an exorbitant fee for it at the gate, most likely. And if you do decide you need a carry-on or another bag, you do not have the option at all to purchase a carry-on. You can only purchase a checked bag. For me, I avoid checking a bag like the plague. I would 100% of the time rather get all my stuff into a carry-on so I don't risk losing luggage. And packing efficiently means I don't have as much stuff to manage once I am at my destination. So I am a carry-on traveler through and through. When I recently flew United to California from Florida, when I realized what I'd done, that I only had a basic economy ticket that had no option for a carry-on bag, I weighed the cost, and it was only a little bit more expensive to fully cancel my flight for a United credit and rebook in regular economy than it would have been to pay for a checked bag anyway. So I ended up paying a little bit extra and having to go through the whole process of canceling and rebooking my flight instead of just booking the right ticket in the first place. And that's not the only restriction. You also board last, always, without fail. And you can't pick your seat, so if you are flying with someone, expect to be separated. It's honestly really only worth it if you're planning on flying for the weekend with like just a backpack. If you're gonna be going for more than like 3 nights, maybe 4, if you're really savvy, you're gonna want the regular economy ticket. It's just not worth the $100, the headache of having 5 items that you're able to bring in a tiny backpack. And that's what's funny, the upgrade to a regular economy ticket is usually $30 or $40 more. For that, you'll get a full carry-on, earlier boarding, and you can actually pick your seat. If you've ever been in that line, you know what I'm talking about. It's worth the money just to skip the drama. Speaking of checked bags add up fast. They start at $35 for the first and $45 for the second on domestic flights. So if you're checking 2 bags round trip, that's $160 right there. Starting price. Another reason to go carry on. But if you have United's co-branded credit card or status with MileagePlus, their frequent flyer program, you can usually get at least 1 bag for free. Even if you're not a big credit card points person, this one perk can add up to pay for the card itself if you find yourself flying United a lot. So it may be something to look into. Oh, a doozy. Not every United airplane has seat back screens. This is my nightmare, truly. I love a seat back screen. And when I sit down and the back of the seat in front of me is just a smooth surface, boy, that just wrecks my day. Now, United has been updating a ton of planes lately, but some still don't have seatback screens. Instead, they use something called personal device entertainment, which is basically your phone's the screen. It's like having a seatback screen, but it's tiny. And you can't use your phone while you're watching it because it is your phone or your tablet or your computer, but the point is, you have to provide the screen. Now, you do still get access to United's library of entertainment. You can connect through the United app or the United website to get access to stream TV, movies, music, whatever. But key word here is, this works best with the app. So a pro tip is to download the app prior to your flight so that you have access to this a little bit easier. Even if you're not purchasing Wi-Fi, you do want to connect to Wi-Fi in United, whether it be to watch personal entertainment or to just check on your flight's trajectory in the sky and everything like that in the United portal. United, I have had glitches with on both Apple and Android before, where it can be a little tricky to connect. The 2 reasons this typically happens is because either A, you need to already be in airplane mode by the time you're trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. So if you're on the ground, you haven't put your phone in airplane mode yet, you probably will not be able to access the UA in-flight Wi-Fi on your little Wi-Fi selector page. The other reason is that there is a login, and it is kind of unclear that you need to log in to access the Wi-Fi. So make sure that you are logging into MileagePlus. You can create an account if you need it, and that way you can set up the Wi-Fi. Ooh, bonus third that I just thought of. When you are accessing the Wi-Fi, there may be an ad that plays, and in most cases, you will not be connected until after the ad, so make sure that you wait until it says you are connected. Then you're good to close that page. Wi-Fi in United can be great, or it can be useless slash a nightmare. And it does cost money. For short flights, it's usually around $8 if you're a MileagePlus member, which by the way, is a free login. Save yourself the money, because it's $10 if you're not. It's $2 for just, giving another company your email. International flights, because they're longer, the Wi-Fi tends to be a bit more expensive. $20, $25 might be more the range that you're in, but it depends on the route. Now, if you have multiple flights in one day, you can buy a day pass, which could save you money because otherwise you might be buying Wi-Fi twice. So if you're someone who needs to work or have access to messaging or stream in the air, it's worth planning in advance for Wi-Fi. And warning, airplane Wi-Fi is not 100% of the time going to work. Sometimes your Wi-Fi will cut out, particularly if you have a flight over the ocean. In that case, there's nothing they can do. It's probably not just you if the Wi-Fi is no longer working. It's the name of the game. We got internet in the sky these days. That we have it at all is impressive. We talked a bit about basic economy, but there's actually a fare on the other side of economy too, and that is Economy Plus, which is kind of the sweet spot. Economy Plus is United's version of the best seat in coach. You get a few extra inches of legroom, and you're usually seated closer to the front of the plane. That means you tend to get off the plane faster, and sometimes can even mean you get a little bit better service because the drink cart reaches you faster. That can be good if there's ever an instance where they run out of something, and it also just means you get your drink sooner. It's typically not much of a splurge to do Economy Plus, but it's kind of in that sweet spot where you get to guarantee a little bit nicer experience for not that much more money. I don't think it's that much better than regular economy, but it's good to know about, and a lot of people do end up kind of swinging into Economy Plus. But if you want to go beyond Economy Plus, you can consider business class, Polaris business class. Polaris is on United's international flights, and it is their top tier business class. It is a genuinely impressive business class. It has lie flat seats, Saks Fifth Avenue bedding, actual plates and silverware, and even lounges in some of the bigger airports. I'll give you some tips later on getting that upgrade without paying the rack rate for these seats, because they do get quite pricey. But if it's something you're able to do, business class is certainly worth looking into. If you're using points or even considering a big splurge on a long haul flight, Polaris business class is widely considered to be one of the better business class offerings that you can find out of US Airlines. But how do we get into Polaris? You're asking me. Remember, we're talking to a girl who was in a basic economy ticket, okay? I'm not lounging it up in the Polaris business class on the reg. But there are ways to get there. For instance, MileagePlus, the frequent flyer program, better than you think. United's loyalty program did actually surprise me. I have frequent flyer with like all the airlines because I've yet to make my decision on what airline I want to be loyal to. I love Delta, but she's so much more expensive than everything else. And I fly a lot through Charlotte International Airport, which is an American hub. I don't know. One of the reasons MileagePlus is so great is because you can use and earn miles not just with United, but with tons of their Star Alliance partners, including Lufthansa, ANA, and Singapore Airlines, which I hear recommended all the time if you can fly them. And sometimes those partner flights are an even better deal than United itself. Regardless, something I want to make sure you know is that even if you only are flying one time, signing up for MileagePlus is completely free. It can get you little perks like that discount on Wi-Fi when you're on the plane, and you'll at least rack up some miles towards a future trip. So even if you only fly a little bit, you never know what might be happening in the future. You could end up on 10 United flights next year. I always make sure to sign up for frequent flyer programs. Of course, the best thing you can do is kind of go all in on loyalty to one airline to start getting perks there. But if you're flying an airline, make sure you're on its frequent flyer program. Oh, the United app. This next one's big. So good. This thing is like shockingly useful. I love the United app. I probably fly a dozen airlines a year. Like I've been on many different airlines. Hands down, no holds barred, best app is United. We like talk about it. Me and my fiance literally were like talking about how good the United app is. Honestly, I would go so far as say it's probably one of the best things about flying United compared to other airlines. It shows you real-time flight updates that are more detailed, more accurate than flight alerts I see on almost any other app. It lets you track your bags, and then you can do things like change your seat, and even, in some cases, rebook your flight in case of a delay from the app. Download it before you leave home. I always like to have the app of the airline I'm flying because it's the easiest and most reliable way to get updates, particularly to my boarding pass if I've checked in online, which I always have because I didn't check a bag. The really incredible thing about the United app is that all of those real-time updates about your flight show up in the very top of your notifications, and they just stay there. So you can swipe down at any time and see an update of exactly what is going on with your flight, even sometimes what zone is boarding. It's just so nice. If you've used a couple of airline apps, you know exactly what I mean. This app is a cut above. It sounds silly, but as a type A person where it's really important to me to know exactly what's going on with my flight at all times, this app is a huge help to my peace of mind. All right, remember I told you we were gonna talk about getting those upgrades? That's where elite status and credit cards can come into play. If you find yourself flying United often, it's time to start chasing that MileagePlus status. They have a couple of status levels: silver, gold, platinum, and 1K, and they come with perks like free checked bags, earlier boarding, and sometimes even upgrades. But it can take a while to get frequent flyer status. If you're someone who thinks you will never fly enough miles to reach status with an airline, let me let you in on a little secret. Most people don't. The main way that people get status with airlines is through credit card points, where purchases can rack up miles for an airline. They get a travel credit card that pairs with the airline of their choice and then use that for major purchases. The best way to use it for your credit is, of course, not to rack up any debt on that card, but then paying back any purchases made on the card regularly means you are just making your regular purchases while also racking up tons and tons of miles and status on your preferred airline, United included. Now, even if you're nowhere near elite status from miles alone, or even from miles that you earn other ways like credit card perks, United's credit cards on their own can just immediately give you some of the perks. A free checked bag and priority boarding are a good example of this. Now, of course, I never recommend getting a credit card if it is not right for your finances and your credit score at the time, but if you are flying United all the time and you do not have a travel card that you like already and you have room for another credit card in your folio, worth considering. So yes, United can be a great flight as long as you don't miss the fine print and you know how to play a little bit of the game. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been caught by an airline rule that you didn't know about. I would love to hear so that it doesn't happen to me. I give you my mistakes to learn from, you give me yours. This is a transaction amongst friends. If you did make it this far, comment this secret code, Polaris Streaming, so that I know you are part of the Smart Traveler Club, which I just made up. And we're all members of now because you're still watching this. And if you want to see more travel tips, experiences, and games from all over, especially theme parks, go ahead and subscribe. We upload 6 videos a week because we're pretty serious about fun. Thanks for watching. See you next time.